this episode, Trash Panda Off-Road, guys. We're gonna switch in the 5-speed front differential third member into the Trash Panda. So I just finished shooting the video and wrapping everything up of doing the backside, which wasn't bad. So there's a mess down there. Now I got to do the front because you guys know they got to match. But when I got into here, I found something pretty crazy. Check that out right there. That's broken. Some scarring on the cross member from the driveline. Who knows how long it's been like that. I've had a skid plate on here, though you can't really tell. It's beat up right here like crazy. Don't even know. Actually, that's the bolt for the skid plate that's broken off. The other one got tore out from right here. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to get that skid plate back on. But that's a different issue. Right now, what we're going to have to try to do, unhook the drive line. Still got to take this section off, even though it's broken right here and not attached to anything. Then we'll try to get all these bolts here to get that third member out. I believe if we undo the struts, we can tilt this out, and that will allow us enough room to pop the axle shafts out far enough that we can pull this third member. When I did it on the mint colored tracker, it wasn't a big deal because I already had the motor out and I was working above, so it wasn't difficult at all. Now we're dealing with all this dirt and grime, and tried to pressure wash it, but anyways, you can tell it's still filthy under here. And it actually takes quite a beating for, 4+ years of wheeling this thing. That's all bent, everything's all dirty. So alright, first things first. Try to clean it up a little bit and take off that drive line. Those are probably going to be 14s like the rear, and then we'll push it off to the side and we'll see what we can come up with. Show you guys what I've gotten to so far. If I do make a video, it hopefully helps somebody. So like I've said earlier, you have to take the strut mounts out, drop everything down so that you can get the axles to come out of the center section, unbolt the driver's side. I want to say that's 12 millimeters, not 100% sure, but you can pull that axle out. You got to do the same thing on the passenger side in order to pull that axle out. And the way this works, there's no room in there, so you actually have to drop the whole front axle out, which is really not as bad as it sounds. Once you get those axle shafts removed, on this side there's a big bolt here that holds this section to the frame, and then on the other side there's 3 bolts here that bracket to hold to the frame, and then this section here on that cross member, but I showed you guys earlier it was broken on this one. Then the cleanup process is really basically the same. You'll have to hammer this out so you can pull that third member, undo all your bolts. There's 1 and 2 that are 14, the rest are 12s. Unbolt it, pull this thing out, clean up everything, make sure you got no more goo and silicone and all that stuff. This one drops right in, crank everything back down again. Same principle with the axle on this one as it was on the rear. You get it lined up in there, and then a block of wood and a hammer, get that thing in there nice and tight. Now we're going to try to get this thing put back in there tomorrow and get this all put back together. Now that we have the axle back together with the new gears in it, we got to see if we can lift it back into place. There's a clip over here. I don't know how much of this you can see. There's a set of bolts and a bracket right here, a bracket over here, and then a bracket right here. So I'm going to try to lift this thing up and see if we can get it to set in there on any of these brackets, and hope we can get a bolt in it somewhere. I don't know if this is actually a one-person kind of job, but we'll find out. this side maybe. Sure, this is not great footage of me struggling with this thing. Oh. Okay, I got one bolt in. So now I'll mess with all the rest of it. Try to get this thing squared in there and start putting the axles back in. Oh, that's unfortunate. So the one that goes to the cross member under the oil pan, you got to put this bolt in first. Damn it. I'm going to drop it back down again. That sucks for Doug. Alright, put the bolt in first. Try again. Okay, got those bolts started. Should be pretty easy from here about just reassembling everything. Remember, there's 3 here. I just got to tighten down. Then there's the one in the middle, right there. And then there's the one on the far side, which is a little easier to get from the top. Right down there by the oil filter. Right there. So, we'll tighten all those down. We'll have our main axle housing back in place. Then we put this axle back on there. Check this side back up. Put this back into the strut. Then we gotta come over here and do the same thing on this side. A little more complicated though, because on this side we have to put this axle right here back into the hole right there and get it all lined back up again. Then we'll lift this thing back up and bolt it back together. Then we have to fill it with fluid. Very important step. And for that, we got to remove this nasty piece right there. Looks like it's the same thing as we did on the rear. I'll just jam a square adapter in there after I clean it out. Should be able to break it free, fill it with fluid, and we'll call it a day. Another problem we ran into that we didn't foresee is that is stripped out. So we cannot fill it through that hole. So what we had to do, I say we a lot, what I had to do was actually take this all back apart, pull that axle out so that I could get into the side end there. And now I will use this hose and put some gear oil in through that. So it looks like if you don't cut off too much of the lid, you can get this thing in there like so, and at least put some fluid in through this side hole. I don't know if it'll be enough to fill it, but we'll give that a shot. Alright guys, there it is. All put back together, bolted up, put back in, got some oil put in it, everything we need. Gonna put the tires back on it, then I'll figure out how to get that skid plate remounted, and we should be ready to go for this weekend's trip. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Sorry it wasn't totally in-depth, step-to-step, but I hope that this helps you guys who are willing to try to take this challenge on. As always, please post comments and questions down below. I try to answer all the comments, and follow along on the Instagram at Trash Panda Off-Road.